Good morning everybody. Rob has asked me to do a little video explaining how I set my seat box up.
Thank you, Tom.
And why. So, first thing I want to say about the Octbox system, this isn't a shameless plug, this is real sort of heartfelt appreciation of this, is obviously it doubles up as a barrow, so you don't need to carry a separate barrow like you do with a lot of boxes, and also you don't need a platform because it's an outrigger system that lets you put your gear in the water straight mounted off the box. Now we're not sitting in the water today, we've got a lovely platform at the very nice Carter Hall fishery, not too far from Sheffield. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I take my box from this, which is how I transport my gear to the peg. As you can see, nice and big, I often front load my heavy items on the front, which counterbalances the weight of the box, makes a nice balanced setup. Let me just show you how quick it is to get it from barrow into seat box. So the first thing we're going to do is unscrew those two little knobs there. There you just take the handles off, store them at the back of the peg. The wheel system at the front there, that's got two locking nuts as well, so we just loosen them. This just pulls out like that, and all of a sudden we've got a seat box. So, part two of the challenge. Now, I don't always do this, but this is best practice. I'd say 3/4 of the time I go fishing I do this, but it's what you should do. Unclip the main seat box module, and the reason for that, if you take that off, this is a lot easier to work with. It's light, very, very light system, that, literally like the lightest. So this then goes on here like that, and all we're going to do next is just get it. One little tip for you, I always like to make sure I'm as close to the edge of the water as I can be, so nice and far forward with the legs well butted against the edge of the platform. See, a lot of people who sit like a foot back from the edge of the platform never understand why, because you're not fishing, in my mind, at the full length of your potential. Then you have to put another half a section on to get where you could have got anyway. Straight away you can see that's not level, so what we've got to do is use the inbuilt spirit levels on the box to level it up. So I'm just going to loosen that. I make no apologies, by the way, for the state of the seat box. It is loppy. You can see already on this that vertically, this way, we're about level. So we need to level up horizontally now, which means just a slight raise this side. So I'm just going to put that down, tighten it up. You've got a few ways you can do it. You can either lower the foot plate legs, or you can actually lower the extensions out the bottom of the legs. I've just done it the simplest way. And now look, there we are. Straight away we're nice and level. Both spirit levels are level. And then you can actually start to build everything up. One final little point, which is something I've been playing around with. You'll notice on these legs themselves, there's a little, I don't know, on the mud feet, which are brilliant for like natural banks and rivers, they are slightly raised off the bottom of the leg, because you've got that spike there and that flange, mud flange. What I've done on the front of the box here, and I have got these for front and back legs, is I've got a little mud foot on them, which are actually off the outrigger legs. So if you want to be lower to the ground, if ever, like, say for example, I want to be as low as possible, which sometimes I do, I'll actually use the outrigger extension legs that I've sawn off shorter to get flatter and lower to the platform. So I'm really happy with that. That's level, it's nice and comfortable. Always have a little jump on it just to make sure before I go any further. Yeah, that's lovely and secure. Everything's nice and level, and we can start to add a few extensions to it to get it perfect. I'm just actually going to just tweak that, because I think I moved the box when I repositioned it. So let me just get it dead right. That's that side. But again, having these spirit levels is an absolute godsend, because you can gauge dead easily when it's right. Beware, by the way, I've been told off numerous times of over tightening these nuts. It's something I sort of do naturally, but at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is you only need to give them half a turn to get them right. So that's level. We can now begin to put a few other items on there. Stop! If you haven't joined the Catch More Media channel membership area yet, then you are missing out. There are over 60 videos on there already, and we add 4 more every single month, including 16 live matches already, with 1 more coming every single month, and members only live streams where you can put your questions to the very best in the business. And best of all, it costs less than the price of a pint. So £4.99 a month for the Catch More Media Extra package, and that gives you access to the entire back catalogue as well as all that exciting new content. Right, so I'm going to cover a multitude of possibilities today with regard to this. We'll start with talking about commercial fisheries. That's the easiest place to start, where you're going to want multiple nets. We're in the summertime and you're fishing for weights of carp and F1s. So there's no real need for the outrigger system because you're on a nice level platform, but you want stuff to hand, and importantly, you want to be able to ship your pole in and out effectively and also have your nets in the right place. So this outrigger extension, foot plate extension here, which is on the front of the box here, this slides back in, so I'm just going to undo those and slide that back in. Really useful, and I'll show you later for when you're fishing with a bump bar or making it into a trolley, but for most commercial applications you don't need it. But what I do use it for, or what I use those 25mm inserts for, is mounting this, which is a new product actually from Octbox. This is the keep net bar. It'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nets roughly, depending on the shape of the nets and how you want to do it. I think it's advertised as taking 5 nets, but I've had more than that on it. I'll show you how I do it. Literally, I've got a 25mm post in there. I drop that into there, and you can see now that basically I can mount my nets off this bar. All my keep nets have one of these fitted, just a little nipple that just screws onto the net, locks in place, and then you just use them to lock your keep nets in position. Now this is telescopic either end, so you can position it exactly how you want it for your setup. As I said, it just depends on what I've got. Big thing for me is where I'm fishing, how I think I'm going to catch. I think not enough anglers put thought into where to put the keep nets. For example, if you're fishing down the left hand edge, I'd be thinking to myself, I don't really want it set up like this with these nets on the left. I'd be much more inclined to gauge everything this way. Just put some thought into it really with regard to where you put your keep nets. That's the keep net bar on. Second thing obviously is side trays. I want some room, I want all my bait nice and secure. Now, I have actually moved away from Octbox when it comes to side trays ever since I saw this beautiful big side tray from Feederland. I'll still use a small Octbox side tray at the back, I'll show you that in a sec, but this is the Feederland super duper big XL side tray, and I love it. Just be aware folks, one mistake I made when I first used this, obviously you've got these extensions here so you can set it any height. If you're fishing down your edges, make sure you set it quite low, because obviously what you don't want to be doing is having to hold your pole above your side tray. You want to have it across your knees. So I have that quite low. And all I do is set these two posts roughly to where I think they need to be to go on the legs. And then you can just put them in place, get that exactly where you want it. There we are, I want it like that. Tighten up. And that doesn't need any support leg or anything. This canopy, I like it, not as solid on it as I am the side tray. It's brilliant, but I've noticed these adapters here come loose, so what I'm going to do now is just get it to roughly where I want it if it was going to rain, which would be towards the end of the box, and there's just little flywheels underneath you loosen. Pull it down. There we are, come on. There we are, just loosen them a little bit. And you can actually slide that down into position. Let's get it right. There we are. So that'd be roughly how I'd have it if I was expecting to have to use it today. You have to just be a little bit careful because, and I'll just show you, when you lift this up, what you want is the bottom of the canopy to catch on the bottom of the side tray. So you can see that's perfect now. That's covering all my bait up. It's nice and dry. Well, that's only because I've just moved that along. We do tend to slide a little bit. But that, I think, is a brilliant system. So you can have all your bait on there, starts raining, go like that. Everything's nice and dry. So I love that from Feederland. And I especially love this lovely, big, secure area to work on when it comes to having all my bait. Now, as I said, I do use this, which is the back tray. That just slots on here like that. And tightens up, and that gives me even more room at the back if you want it. So loads of room for all my bait, hooks, all that sort of thing. Next thing I always do is set up the roost. I do like to set a few top kits up. I do like to cover my options often on these venues, especially at F1 venues where you're setting up shallow kits, that sort of thing. You want to be able to put your top kits nice and safe. Now I have, if you look back at old videos of me, you'll see this. I've struggled for years to find the best way of doing this because you want them to hand, but the problem is anything to the left I've found, anything this side of the seat box tends to get in the way of your landing net, because when you come up with the net to net your fish, it's getting in the way. So I've recently though, I found somewhere I've never been happier with how I have these. So all I've got here is a Colmic, I think it's a 3, 6, 10 roost from Colmic on one of the Preston little EVA padded off-box arms. That clips on here at the bottom of the box. Now, if I can get away with it, what I'll do is I'll not have another roost. I'll literally lay my rod bag down there and have them butted against the rod bag so they can't slide off. And that just works perfectly. They're out the way of everything like that. If it's a funny bank and you can't do that, I've got this. This is a Preston roost. I actually nicked this off Jordan Holloway. It's one of the few things I managed to get out of Jordan Holloway over the years. I'll leave that like that. And that then obviously takes all the top kits on there. As I said, the only sort of slight negative, and there's no real way around it, because you want the back end of your top kits raised so you can get them off your roost. It will slide off. So what I tend to do if I'm fishing in a competition, I've got a lot of top kits on there, is I'll put them on there and then I'll sort of put this to butt against roughly where I think the end of the top kit's going to be, so it can't actually slide off the roost. So top kits all go down, as I said, they're nice and low. On the subject of pole socks, I've messed about with this over the years. Sometimes I go off this leg here, which is obviously the one nearest to me. But more than often over the last few months, I've been going off the foot plate leg like that. So that's where my pole sock goes. And by the way, I love these Guru Reaper pole socks, because your pole can go in the middle, it can go in either end, or you can actually wedge it in between, which is really useful. That's padded and slightly springy, so it just grips your pole in the middle there. Right, on to where my landing net goes. These are another major reason I bought the feeder land system. These clip on all the way around the edge of the side tray and allow you to just mount any little post that you want to put on there. So for this one here, I'm going to show you, that goes here. And once in position, if you tighten that up, that'll now hold my landing net, and that's not going anywhere. So my landing net sits beautifully in there. And the last thing I do before I'm ready to start fishing is put the box top back on. So then literally all you do with this is those 4 little clips. You might have to just move them out before you do it, or as you do it, but position it roughly on top and then just get those 2 clips. They just sit in those little grooves like that, in front and back, and then they all clip on. And that is me ready to go in commercial mode. Everything's to hand. You can see the pole goes across there. The landing net's got a place, loads of room for bait. Top kits are nice and secure in the wind. As I said, I like to just butt that up to the end of them. We're ready to go. If I can, and I'm sorry feeder fishing purists, I'm going to offend you here. When I'm method feeder fishing, I'll have it off on top of the keep nets. I'm not one of these to mess about with a feeder arm unless I really need one. Like if it's only going to be something I do for the first half an hour, I think it's an occasional thing through the match, I'll have it on the keep nets. And the reason is the feeder arms just get in the way. But if it's an out and out feeder match, which sometimes it is, depending on where we're going, I have got the feeder land feeder arm, which again I think is the best feeder arm I've ever owned. So with this, again, you can sort of set, I'll just get it right for you. You can set it at any angle you want, wherever you want. Or if you're on the river, let me just get this right, you can literally, I'm just making a couple of adjustments, you can literally set it so that it's basically vertical. So you can have it up in the air if you're on the river. It's just about tweaking. Obviously you'd have your Roach Reaper head in there rather than that one. you'd use that to get it at an angle, and then all of a sudden, if we just undo this a bit more, you can slide that up there. Look, that comes dead vertical, so you can have it like a nice Trent feeder rest like that if you want to. So very versatile bit of kit that I use either when I'm, say, skimmer fishing on commercials, or having a dedicated feeder only match, or on natural venues where it's mainly feeder fishing and you need that ultimate bite registration on braid. I'll always, or mono, braid or mono, when it's fishing for shy bites, I'll always use a feeder on. If I'm going to get dragged in and it's method feeder and I want to be on it and off it, I'll just use my keep nets, because at the end of the day, a bite's a bite. You can keep your rod still, and yeah, I don't see the point in cluttering the workstation up too much, but these are brilliant. Right, I'm just going to finish with a couple of points with regard to natural venues. So again, things are slightly different on natural venues. Obviously the things that stay the same are the side tray setup, the landing net grip, the top kit holding situation. We don't use the keep net bar, because unless you draw like Matt Godfrey, you only ever need 1 or 2 keep nets at the most. So we don't use that. But what I do often use is a bump bar. Again, in winter on commercials it's similar. You maybe have only 1 or 2 nets in. You want your bump bar. And again, this is another real sort of strong advantage of the Octbox system to me, is this outrigger, not outrigger, footplate extension, sorry. So you can literally put that in there, get it, if you want it, say you're sort of inching through on a river, or if you want to fish multiple lines on a bump bar that don't fit in with the grooves, you can have it on the flat side. 90% of the time though, I'll turn this round and have them grooves like that, so you can literally drop your pole in where you want it. And then, and this is the real sort of selling point for me, look, undo those two. This slides out, let's move the pole sock, this slides out to about there. And the beauty of that, I am much more stable on my box when fishing long lengths in a bump bar than most anglers, because the distance between where I'm holding the pole here between my legs and where it sits on the bump bar, I think they call it the fulcrum point, that is a lot further away. So that means that you can hold your pole more still and more stable. So that's another big plus. And finally, final little thing I carry as part of my seat box setup. If we're sat out in the water somewhere on the river, having a great day on the Trent, and we're feeding ground bait and catching loads of lovely big wild water fish when sat in the water, the bucket hoop comes in as well. And this, I'll often just put it here off this leg, to be fair. So if I want that there, that's just a Preston bucket hoop. Found it a really solid product. That can go like that. I can have my ground bait in there. So the bucket hoop goes there, my ground bait can sit in there. I can either top up a little tub from that, or keep my worms in it, or use it for other storage if I'm sat in the water. Or I can literally have the ground bait in it, go in, get a handful and throw it in. Everything's to hand, and that is the best seat box system I've found by utilising these different products. I mean, we've not just got Octbox here, we've got Feederland, Preston, Guru, you name it, I've sort of built it into this system. And for me, it works perfectly. Why should you become a Catch More Media channel member? Well, I can think of at least 60 very good reasons, because that's how many exclusive videos we've got on the Catch More Media channel members area already.
Well, who's over there, you might ask? Tons of star anglers. We've got Christian Jones, Jordan Holloway, Matt Godfrey, Bob Nudd, Robbie Taylor, Hadrian Whittle, Tom Scholey. I've got a few videos over there. A mixture of river and commercial fishing, I must add. Loads to go out, Tom.
There is, and I'll be honest, my favourite features over there, and there's at least 16 of these already, live matches.
Yeah.
Now, these are lengthy affairs. They're an evening's viewing, I'm going to say. They
Yeah.
tend to be about an hour and a half plus in length. And what we do on these is actually follow a top angler all the way through a match. In that situation, you just naturally find that anglers open up more, because they're in a competitive mode. And obviously, sometimes I think the very best, Rob, in this business know what they're doing but don't quite know why.
They're under pressure, so they have to perform for the cameras.
Yeah, and they just do things that you never imagine them doing. You say, well, explain that, and you get these little gems of information.
They want to win.
They want to win.
They can't resist.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that I've learnt things from these live matches that have won me matches as well.
Definitely. So there's also a little added bonus of a live stream with myself and a star angler every single month. The chance for you to put your questions to them, get them answered live on the stream. What we'll be doing on there, well, we'll be covering tactics in depth, talking about big wins, loads of information you can get out of the star anglers. So who've we had on there? Des Ship, Christian Jones. He did a pole master special last month, so that's a right treat. We've had Brad Lucas, a mugging special, loads to go at. Perfect.
It is, it's nice because it just gives it that personal touch. If you want to put a question to a star angler, you can do so on there. Make sure you log in, ask away, and they're only too happy to help. All this doesn't cost as much as you'd think either, just $4.99 a month. So less than a pint of a price of a pint in a lot of venues, isn't it? So $4.99 a month gets you access to everything.
Pound a video.
Yeah. On top of that, though, you can pay a bit more if you want.
Yeah, you can get the elite package, which does something a little bit different. What does it get you, Tom?
So the elite package is all about giving people content early. So 1 week earlier than everybody else, you get access to everything, whether it be on the members channel or the main Catchable Media free channel. Every video we put out there, you get it 1 week early.
Early access, get a little look before your mates, get ready for the match on the weekend.
That's it.
Exactly.
So $7.99 for the elite package, $4.99 for the extra package. We really appreciate your support as it lets us get out and do more filming and bring you more videos that I know you enjoy.
See you over there.